Hey, besties. Thank you for tuning in to a Vibe Called Blessed podcast where we turn up for Jesus and celebrate in our confidence. Thank you for listening. Hey, besties. I can't tell you how good it feels to be on this mic and you listening to me again. And if you are a new listener, hello. I am your host, Jazz, and you are listening to, a Vibe Called Blessed podcast. Now, listen, I have been gone a lot of while. And that was never my intention. But if there's one thing that God knows when it comes to me, is that I know that He gave me the gift and the ability to do this. And He gave me this idea and this vision to do this podcast. And for me, I know that I can't be perfect as much as I would love to be perfect before God, but I know that that would never be. I just don't feel right putting my hands to work and doing things when I don't have a clear mind or a clear path and I mean just in the right space to do what it is that He wants me to do. I just feel like I would be faking it and lying, and that's just not fair to myself, to the people that are listening, and most importantly to God. And so my time away, I think I know in the beginning I had missed doing a podcast, but then as time went on, when I had to refocus my life, refocus my mind, get back in alignment with my spirit man, get back into my relationship with God, um, I didn't think about the podcast. I couldn't. I couldn't put these hands to plow the soil to reap a harvest when I had so many other things that I had to bring into alignment. And I know that for God, He don't bless no mess. And I knew what I had prayed for, what I'm continuously praying for and beyond now for this journey, the doorways that I want to open. And I know that I just couldn't do it any other way. I know for some people, they probably would not have cared. They would have just been like, you know what? Who gonna know? But I feel like you would be able to hear it in the way that I talk, my emotions. Just, it's also like I had writer's block without writing at that. Even if I wanted to pick up to record a podcast episode, I couldn't do it. Because again, I just felt like in everything, I want to be led by God. Okay, God, what is it that we should talk about? What is it that you would have me to say? And I never know how the episodes are going to perform. I'm not doing it to be performative. I say who listens, listen. Is this who it was God intended to hear it? I'm going to be sure to share on various different platforms to get it out there. But my intentions of doing what it is that I wanted to do was always to utilize my anointing and utilize the gift that God has given me. And I had to really, again, realize that God wasn't going to bless me in a mess. And I had to get my mind, my spirit, and my life in order. And so while I was going through this transitional period, I also moved to a new city. And even when I moved to this new city, I still did not think about the podcast because now I'm in I've transitioned, but now I have to adjust to this new place that I'm planted, and I need to see and understand what it is that God, okay, because I've always known that the city that I'm in, that I was meant to be here for years. I was telling everybody that knew that it was always, I was always going to move here. And how I ended up it, but this was years of prayer, fasting, crying, doubting, I mean, to getting to this point, like it was not easy. And I believe that, I know that it was God's intention that it did not go in the way that it was supposed to, well, on my timing, basically, for it to happen. I don't know what he was shielding me from or why. I know some of the story in the timing of it, uh, in regards to things that happen in my personal life with family, but there's still so many other things to uncover. And so going through that transitional period, I was like, okay, of I'm in this readjusting. I'm almost like in this rebirthing, because though I came to this city many times, I was a visitor. Now I'm a resident. Now it's completely different, because when I leave out to go somewhere, I'm coming back home in the same, like, this is my address. And I love it here. It was I never had any regret, doubt, fear, anything. And I don't have any family in this new city. Most of my friends are in the old city that I used to live in. So I was just like, I thought that it would feel weird, but it was such an assurance. And like, that's why I said I transitioned. Now I was adjusting. I'm adjusting now, because now I have to create a new routine and new habits. And now I have no distractions. Things I didn't, it was, when I tell you God is so good, because when I lived in my old apartment, I had lived there for 3 years. You can imagine the memories, or the emotions and things that were like in the walls. And to leave that space, to come to something new, and especially even just beyond the walls, just the city alone, but to come to now a city that I'm familiar with, that I love. And again, I'm not a visitor. Now I am a resident. I'm now creating new memories. I'm connecting with new people. It is such a difference. And I'm like, wow, God, you are amazing. One day I have to tell the story about my apartment, like how it aligned and set up. But again, through my transition, my readjusting, and adjusting to new life, I still didn't think about the podcast. Then I'm currently, but follow me here. I got pregnant. I'm like, okay, mind you, I'm recording this. I have not hit my year yet of being in this new city. All right, I'm pregnant. Talk about another transition that is about to happen in my life, that is going to call for me to have an adjustment, because I've never been a mom before. And all right, here we go. And the moment that I found out that I was pregnant, I knew I needed to make changes in my life. Not just what I consumed and eat, because that goes to baby, but huge in a spiritual sense, because everything you feel, the baby feels. I keep getting reminded of that. So I'm consciously thinking about my emotions and my thoughts and what I'm feeling and what I'm saying out of my mouth, because again, what I feel, the baby feels. And not to say that I'm always happy all the time. There's not moments where I have moments of sadness or I felt grief or anything like that. But my recovery is so different. And so while I'm gaining further along in my pregnancy, because I'm still pregnant, the thought of the podcast came back. And it was like, I'm like, why am I thinking about, I can't think about the podcast because I'm about to go through this transition. But it was like God had to remind me that though you are about to go through another transition and another part of your life where you are going to be readjusting and you have to again adjust to this change, you still can't forget about the original plan, the vision that I have given to you for a reason. It all aligns itself. And I didn't understand that. And I was still trying, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it, but I don't. And I remember reading something that says, you are going to be an example that anything is possible and miracles really happen. And I was like, oh, I can't forget that I still, regardless, I'm about to be someone else's mom. I still have a purpose, a vision, goals, aspiration, dreams that God has planted in my heart that I still have to fulfill that. This blessing, not one time did I ever feel like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? Or felt like this was a burden. This has added to, like, oh, this is a part of it, because I now have life that God has blessed me to be able to carry, that is going to be able to see firsthand grow. Because as they grow, they're going to see the type of life that I live through God. And I'm like, okay. And so it's still, even the first thought when I decided that I was going to do the podcast, it still took me time, because again, God ain't going to bless mess. And I am not going to, again, go out and plow and soil when I'm not at my best. Because I'm telling you right now, my first trimester, oh, I can't even. I couldn't even focus. I was so sick. I was so sick, so nauseous, just dealing with pregnancy symptoms. But even once I got through that, I got to the second trimester, which I'm still in the second trimester. Well, I'm about to be my third trimester. Woo woo. The feeling started to get stronger. And the more that I really started to go back and like physically into church, the igniting of my spirit of like, you cannot let your spirit man die. You cannot let your gifts die. There is a reason that you went through a transitional period. There is a reason where you had to get readjusted. There is a reason that you are adjusting well. And it's because, one, I had to get you from the familiarity of everything that you knew. I needed to isolate you for this period, and I needed to bring you back into focus. Mm. Just hearing it out loud, it's like, wow, God, you're so amazing. And so it just makes sense that when you shift, when he says shift, it is amazing. When you let go of the things that he says let go, when you stop walking out of disobedience, or being dishonest with yourself, or living a lie and being truthful of where you're unhappy, or you're angry, or you're sad, or you're, be honest, when you're still holding on to people. It is such a blessing how things start to transition into your life unexpectedly. Because who's to say what God's timing is? And maybe that's the word. Maybe that's what he's trying to get someone to understand, is that I am not going to shed light and bless this of what you have created, and this this mess that you're in. I'm not going to bless it. And I think that you know that, but some part of you are trying to hold on. I remember there was something that happened with family, and I could not understand why the separation happened. And I was just so angry. And I can admit that I was just angry at the world. I was angry at God. But I didn't understand there until there was a prophet that came, and he was like, God said it had to happen, because if he did not strip what is coming to you, you would have given it all away to undeserving people. What? Which is so true though, which is very much. And I was like, wow, you forget how much you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you think that, what would Jesus do? And this is the right thing that I'm supposed to be doing. But sometimes God is saying, but a lot of time God is saying, there's a lot of people that are not deserving to ride off of your anointing, to ride off the gifts and the blessing that God has given unto you, because they won't appreciate it. They'll abuse it. And then you'll look stuck and crazy and alone. And it's not fair to you. And I'm just grateful. So maybe you're in a place where you're supposed to be going through a transitional period, and maybe you feel stuck, or maybe you know the transition is supposed to happen, but you may not think that you're fighting it, but maybe there are things that you're really holding on to that you really need to release it, or you need to just step out in faith. I gotta tell the story about my apartment and how it worked itself out, because it was nothing but God. It was nothing but God, how this aligned itself up and how quickly it happened. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute, what? Okay. The transition is going to be easy. If you, maybe where you think that you're supposed to go, certain place, if it doesn't feel easy, or not, I'm not talking about fear, because the Bible, we should know that the Bible teaches us that God does not give us a spirit of fear, right? I had zero doubts, zero fear walking into this. maybe what you are thinking that's where you're supposed to go, that's not where you're supposed to be. The unexpected place where you're like, why am I thinking about this? Why this? And that's when you're like, oh, maybe that is God. And then when you start to move into it, you're like, oh, I didn't realize all along. You start to see how things aligned up. Like, I can tell you one thing. I started working from home. And by the time I moved out here, I was like working from home at that point for a year and a half. But it didn't dawn on me that God allowed me to work from home for a year and a half, realizing that He allowed me to work from home to remind me that, listen, I am giving you the opportunity to where you don't have to go and look for a job out there because you can literally work from anywhere. So you can't even use the job excuse. I mean, that's just part of my story. But sometimes God is like, maybe you can transfer. If it is the job thing you're worried about, maybe you can transfer it to something else, but I don't know. But I just, maybe take the time to think about what is that you have been praying, fasting, and asking God for, and then take a step back and be like, am I asking for stuff, miracles, signs, and wonders, and I am really a mess? I am not living the way God has intended for me. I am angry, bitter, resentment, harboring regret, holding on to old traumas, moving in fear, moving in doubt. Something, what could it be? I can't tell you how many times I had to repent to God because I was like, I can't believe. I started to be like, is this even really gonna happen? Not that I knew that I wasn't gonna be in the place that I knew that, but it was just like, gosh, it just seemed like it's taking too long. But His timing is always right. And it's going to go in a way that you didn't intend it. And even if He has to hurt you to get you into that transition, doesn't feel good. But if that is what has to happen, then okay, God, I surrender. I surrender because I want what you want from me. I want to do the things that, God, you want me to do. I want to go to places that you want me to go. I want to be in rooms that, God, I couldn't even imagine I would be in. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my first episode back, and I'm so excited to jump back into this thing. I'm going to stick to my schedule as I normally been doing, where I upload weekly. And of course, thank you for listening. If you're listening on whatever streaming platform you are listening to, or you're listening on the YouTube streets. But again, I thank you so much for, if you are an oldie and a goodie, for continuously supporting me. And if you are a new listener, welcome to the team, bestie. I'm so excited for this journey, because we are on this journey together. I love you. Bye-bye.